This is Coach Ruff. The Pirates play here on 107.9 WNCT. Arr.
That was a very kind introduction, Jeff. Thank you. And I can't say enough about the leadership here at East Carolina with Jeff and Dr. Ballard. They have taken this university to new heights. Jeff is already one of my trusted advisors and counselors and friends. And he's right. We said right away, we're going to welcome our new schools and make them feel at home. Conference realignment, as you all know, can be a little awkward because, you're in one conference, but you're really in another and your mind's somewhere else. So it has to be managed in a way. And one of the things we tried to do at our conference was to take the high road at all times when people left and when people came in. And I think we've done that, and I think it's really helped establish our conference very quickly as a brand. Needless to say, I'm thrilled and delighted to welcome East Carolina to the American Athletic Conference. As you know, they officially joined July 1st, and our conference will be issuing a statement at that time welcoming our three new schools, which will be East Carolina, Tulane, and Tulsa. This is a great university in all respects, and it's also an important university for the state of North Carolina, for the economy, and for the greater region as well. Now it's going to have a national reputation in athletics by virtue of its membership in our conference and the incredible TV exposure that it's going to get. It has outstanding athletic programs, which it has had over the years and which are only going to get better under Jeff's stewardship. Now they're going to get the attention and the exposure that this university has long deserved. We have a great TV arrangement in the American Athletic Conference. All the games virtually are going to be on ESPN platforms, with some on CBS Sports Network platforms and some on ABC. We have 3 guaranteed ABC appearances in football. We have all conference games on ESPN platforms or CBS Sports Network. All 18 games are going to be on, all 18 conference games, in addition to non-conference games in basketball. Jeff alluded to my history with East Carolina University, and years ago when Dave Hart was the AD here, I visited, I got to know Dave, I got to know the university, and I realized that there was something special going on here. It was very evident to me. This is a great place with rabid fans and really, really exciting teams. And it had the kind of atmosphere, you sometimes, I spent, 16 years programming the SEC and football and other sports, and it's that kind of atmosphere, that kind of real identification with the teams. And obviously the football program was I wouldn't call it a hidden gem, but it was a gem that really hadn't been fully discovered. So make a long story short, back in '91, I recommended the management at ESPN that we do a deal with East Carolina, which was an independent at the time, for all 6 of their football games nationally on ESPN. And we did a deal from '91 to '96, 5-year deal. And then eventually East Carolina, during that period, joined Conference USA. That deal stayed in place, though, and it was great exposure for the university. And the university rewarded ESPN. The university won the famous Peach Bowl '92. I remember the announcer at the end saying, you can paint this peach purple. And that was a great, obviously Jeff Blake taking the team from behind. But there's a long history here of great football and great athletics generally. And I think the basketball program will have a chance to make great strides because, you're now going to have the national champion coming here, UConn. You've got Larry Brown. You've got Kelvin Sampson joining the conference, Mick Cronin, Fran Dunphy, Josh Pastner, a host of other really great coaches. This conference is marked by great football and basketball coaches, and also our coaches in Olympic sports. We've done very well in Olympic sports, and we don't want to neglect those as well. Finally, it's been a storybook year for us. It's been a remarkable inaugural season. As Jeff said, we won the Fiesta Bowl. We won the 2 national championships, men and women. We were the finals of the NIT, won the women's NIT, had a team in the College World Series. That's a pretty high bar. And I said to a reporter, and I was joking, but I said, we don't want to reach our high water mark in our first year, so we've got to really rev up and make sure that we continue to be very good in everything, which I think we will. Because there are a couple of things I want to say before I'll open it to questions. This conference, and I don't want to get metaphysical here, but this conference, like the old Big East, it's born of an idea of teams challenging and competing. And there is no question that these teams have that ethic, and this conference has that ethic. And what you're going to see is what you saw in the old Big East, programs coming in that will raise their level, that will raise their profile. Virginia Tech, Frank Beamer to this day says there's no way Virginia Tech could ever have done what it did without having membership in the Big East. And Virginia Tech, the Hokies, people didn't know them that well. Look where Florida State was years ago. Not that they were in our conference, of course, but think about where they were and how they built a program. It's not easy to do, but you can do it. And a program like this is already in place, obviously, especially in football. It's already in place. It just needs to be discovered. And one of the things this conference has is an incredible TV deal. We don't necessarily yet have the money that we think will generate down the road, but we also, because of the nature of the difficult conference realignment we went through, and Jeff pointed out the various markers along the way. We got a TV deal in place. We got the Catholic 7 situation worked out. We found good venues for our championship games. We moved on and did other things. Because of that, though, we're in pretty good shape as we move forward. We almost have a second stream of rights fees, so the financial stability of the conference was assured when we were able to get through that. And in the future, we only have a 6-year deal in football, so we expect down the in football and basketball, and so we expect down the road to sit down with ESPN and talk about that. And we think that our performance this year certainly is key. And finally, I just wanted to point out, you've heard a lot about NCAA governance, the governance redesign process. You've heard a lot about autonomy. You've heard a lot about the Power Five, the Equity Five, the High Resource Five. There are a lot of different names that they're called. We're knocking on that door. We look at it as 5+1. We look at it as down the road. We hope there'll be 6. We think there will be 6. We have 6 teams in our league, 6 teams that once played in either a BCS conference or were in the old Southwest Conference, which was the equivalent. We also have the best of Conference USA coming into our conference to elevate their program. So that's a pretty powerful combination. And when you have schools like East Carolina, and when you have schools like USF and UCF and Houston and Cincinnati and Tulsa and Memphis and Connecticut, and the Naval Academy coming in next year with a national program, and you have schools, I'm obviously always forget somebody, there's SMU and Tulane, and again, there's a powerful dynamic at work here. This is going to be a terrific conference. You're not going to necessarily win a national championship every year, and you're not necessarily going to win a major bowl game every year, but I think we're going to be competitive every year, and I think people are going to expect us to be competitive. So I'm very excited about this. I'm very excited about the branding of the conference, but also ECU's place in it. Again, as I said, this is an all-around great university with great programs. I had a chance to meet several of the student athletes, and I'll meet more this afternoon. And, in closing, you get involved in so many things these days as a commissioner. The business of college sports is a competitive business. It's very demanding. You're dealing obviously with other commissioners. You're dealing with a lot of budgetary issues. You're dealing with presidents and ADs. You're dealing with a lot of different issues, realignment, all sorts of things. You can't forget that it's all about the student athletes. That's why we're here. And when I meet them and when I spend time with them, and I've done it since the time I became commissioner, you really realize what great kids they are, how important it is that they have the facilities, the resources. And that's what we said when we set upon keeping this conference together and making sure that it was a top conference. We want our student athletes to have the same opportunities they had before when they were in the old Big East. And we want the new schools coming in to give their student athletes the same opportunities to compete at the highest level. We know that they're going to compete well academically. These are outstanding academic institutions in our conference. We have a great mix of important research institutions, bigger institutions like ECU and like Houston and like the Florida schools. And we also have small, outstanding private schools like Tulsa and SMU and Tulane, and then the Naval Academy, of course, being a highly regarded national institution of great importance. But we want to make sure that our student athletes have the best of everything. I think we're on the way. Again, thrilled to be here at East Carolina and to welcome them into the conference. And Jeff and Dr. Ballard and everybody here. I've been on some radio shows. Everybody's treated me extremely warmly, and I can't thank you enough.